Welcome to another episode of the RAG podcast. And for those of you who don't know, the RAG stands for Recruitment Agency Growth. Since early 2019, I've been interviewing the most successful and innovative recruitment owners to learn how they rose to the top of their game. In season 7, I'm going to be having raw, authentic, and insightful conversations with agency owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, people across the industry. And I want to be learning about their ambitions, what's happening behind the scenes in their agencies today, and their plans to navigate difficult market conditions. I'll be bringing you the latest and greatest recruitment stories every single week on Wednesdays at noon across multiple platforms. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the RAG podcast. On this week's show, I'm going to be hosting a short webinar for you effectively, where I will be talking you through how myself and my team at Hoxo generate 1,000 leads on average every single month inbound to our business and turn that into over 2 million a year in revenue. Okay. I get so many people asking about our inbound model. Some people don't believe it's as inbound as it is. So I want to show you. I want to show you what's possible. I want to give you some insights and break it down for you. So very different episode today, but I think you're going to really enjoy it. I think you're going to be able to take notes. It's hopefully going to inspire you, and feel free to reach out to us if you want to find out any more information as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as I mentioned before, 1,000 leads is what we generate on average. Some months more, some months slightly less, but over the last 14 months, we've done 1,000 leads a month average, and we've generated for the last 3 years over 2 million in revenue. Okay. And it all comes from this inbound model. Every single customer we work with and we've ever worked with have come as a result of what I call a warm lead. That is someone who has reached out to us, has downloaded something on our website, has shown interest in Hoxo, and we then reach out to. Sometimes they come directly in with a direct message, or they fill in a form they want a call. Sometimes they book a call directly. But we never, ever go after that cold data. We don't ring people we don't know. We don't email people we don't know. We simply don't do it. We might do in the future, but right now we don't need to, and it's serving the business that me and my business partner, Emma, want to create. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you're going to have to imagine some of this, but you can always watch this back on YouTube or LinkedIn Live, as I will, the video version of this is going to be quite interesting because I'm going to show some diagrams and lots of different things. So let me share my screen in its entirety. Inside our model, as I said, we've built an inbound lead generation model that generates multiple 7 figures in revenue, and we do this through attracting the right leads to our business, and we get them by adding value. Ultimately, you'll know this by the fact that I launched this podcast. I'm very vocal on LinkedIn. My whole methodology is about giving away value. Sometimes giving away more value than anyone else I know. Sometimes giving away value, so much value that people think, well, what else are you going to be able to give people if they pay you? But that's part of the plan, really. It's about giving so much away that people trust you, that people want to work with you, and people believe they should work with you because they have seen you so much. They've already gathered so much from you for free that ultimately, why wouldn't they invest in working with you? So how I do it is I ultimately turn people from what I call follower to client through 5 strategic assets. I have 5 things. Okay, I'm going to break this down for you now. So the one thing I would say is the 5 assets are super, super consistent. Okay. I don't pick things up and drop it. I don't do much more than these 5 things, but I do these 5 things religiously. Okay. And some are daily, some are weekly, some are monthly, some are quarterly, some are every 6 months. I'll go through it. Okay. So it all starts with my organic social strategy, and that is my LinkedIn daily work. Okay. So I have a personal brand that I have built since the first day of 4th of April 2017 was the first day I posted on LinkedIn, and I've posted pretty much every working day since. By consistently hitting LinkedIn with a strategy that I follow every day, I've been able to drive leads to Hoxo since day one. It's where all of our leads used to come from. Going into the pandemic, and before the RAG podcast, it's literally the only way I built the business up to just under $1 million a year in revenue. I was getting 1 million views a month on LinkedIn, which led me to then think, well, could I teach other people exactly what I'm doing? Because I documented it all. And I call this the VCE model. The VCE model is my content strategy, and then I have something called 20-10-5, which is my engagement strategy. And I follow those two things, and together, this is known as the 3X system. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail about that now, but the 3X system is essentially how I run my LinkedIn strategy. And it's the same thing I teach in our personal brand bootcamp. So some of you might have been on the bootcamp, some of you listening haven't. But if you do join the Hoxo Academy, the personal brand bootcamp, it's effectively my bespoke 3X system that I teach, and people get access to it. So that's still that strategy called the 3X system is still how I run my LinkedIn. I have help from the team, but 90% of it I do myself. And ultimately, it drives 20 to 30% of our leads into the business every single month. So 200 to 300 leads every single month come from my LinkedIn account. Okay. And when I say lead, again, that's people coming back and filling in a form. So at least once a week, I relate, I'm just showing you on the screen, I have a mix of video, images, text content. I put out 3 types of content: valuable, entertaining, incredible. Again, I break that down in the personal brand bootcamp. And at least once a week, I put a post up that relates back to our services or something I'm doing that allows people to fill in a form. Okay. Now, I have not only documented everything and ran this as part of the personal brand bootcamp, but I've now launched something called the personal brand boardroom. Okay. And in the boardroom, I work with customers to implement all of these strategies at a much higher level. And one of the things we've done is we've created something called the ghostwriting playbook. So what we found at Hoxo a couple of years ago was that whilst I was nailing it myself, Amma, my business partner, was struggling. And he, for whatever reason, couldn't find the consistency to post every single day. Even though he knew the methodology, he understood it, he just couldn't motivate himself. So we worked out whether we could get someone in our team to ghostwrite for Amma. They then took over Amma's account, working with Amma to get the content, and took him from posting once a week to 3 times a week. We got over 1 million views on Amma's account that year. It was 2022. And that led us to building a ghostwriting business. Last year, 2023, we were managing over 50 recruitment founders brands following this methodology, following the 3X system, but we had teams of people doing it for clients. This year, we ultimately made a decision, as I've mentioned plenty of times, that we didn't want to keep growing headcount. So we've actually decontinued that product, but instead we've created a training program around it called the Ghostwriting Playbook. And effectively, what that means is we can take anyone from any background, really. I mean, marketing background's great, but you don't have to be a writing background. And we can give them the methodology to write on behalf of you, a recruitment founder, or your recruitment leadership team. You don't want someone writing for everyone in your business, but there's certain people, top billers, leaders, founders, that if they do have an organic strategy like I have on LinkedIn, they're going to generate so much business. They're going to be able to get, because they've got more stories, more gravitas, more networks. And often they become, over time, way more internal in their approach. So the ghostwriting playbook is something we've done where we can train anyone in the business to write on behalf of a founder or a leader. And so my vision for all recruitment businesses is that is your number one strategy. Your organic social should be your number one strategy. Everyone in your business should have a strategy to go to LinkedIn and build their brand, because collectively, the business then can market itself in any direction it wants to go. At Hoxo, my brand is the focus, but we have Amma, Alex, Kate around me, Jordan, Tanya, Bav, all building their brands. And that organic social drives leads into the business every single day. Okay, so that's an everyday thing. Now, once a week, I release an episode of this podcast, The Rag. As you know, it's a 1-hour episode on average. It's usually honest, raw, relatable. You know, I have a very specific audience, recruitment founders growing their business. Now, what that allows us to do is use the show as business development and as a way of engaging our existing customers. And then at the same time, people are inquired to be on the show. We promote services, promote events, and we generate leads off the back of the Rag. Since inception in 2019, I've tracked over £3 million worth of revenue directly from the Rag podcast. And all it is 1 hour of episode every single week. It's been a game changer for me. Now, in our boardroom program, again, we've released the podcast playbook, which is essentially everything that I've done to create the rag, from the tech, the systems, the people, the processes, the templates, everything. And we've given that to our customers so that they can generate their own industry-leading podcast. You know, the guys at, say, Oliver Legg at Asper on Search last year generated over 320,000 in 1 year from his podcast. You know, that's the first year. If you're using your podcast as a vehicle to do business development and speak to your existing customers, not only do you build those relationships and get those conversations going, but you're also producing long-form content that can be sliced and diced. You're nurturing people at scale. It is incredible as a vehicle. Okay, so on top of the organic social, I launched the rag back in 2019. I then, in 2020, launched my taster events, and I've ran a taster event once a month, every month since then. Our events, some of you may have attended, we run a different topic every month with the intention of giving away free value to as many people as we can. We get between 300 and 500 signups a month. That's recruitment founders, leaders, sometimes consultants, but often the senior end of the market, saying, I want to come to this. I want to learn, you know? Now, if we put out free content relating back to that topic of branding and people are signing up, essentially what they're saying is they're interested in our services. They might not say they want to work with Hoxo today, but they are saying they want to work with our services. So we have a super simple strategy that we repeat every single month. We generate 400, 500 leads, and we generate between 50 and 100,000 pounds in revenue every single month from that one taster session that takes me 30 minutes to deploy. In the boardroom, again, we're delivering a webinar playbook. Now, anyone can run a webinar, but we're going to give you our exact methodology, our exact templates, how we do everything we do. Okay. We then have our quarterly refreshed downloads and courses. So every quarter we come up with a new initiative to get people to fill in forms. So we have at the moment, we have something called the 2010-5. So the free part of the bootcamp is the growth and engagement strategy called the 2010-5. Now, we worked out a while ago that this was a really powerful product. And if we gave it away for free, we could probably attract more leads to the business. And if I show you now, so in here, this is our platform. We've got our classroom for our boardroom members for the top product. And you can see here is all the podcast work and everything in here. All these playbooks are being built. We've got the bootcamp. So in here, you've got 39 members of the boardroom, which is a new product this year. In the bootcamp, you got over just under 2,500 members who promote their wins every single day, telling us how well they're doing with everything that we do. And in here, you've got the free course. So we've had over 1,500 people sign up to the free course. Now, when people come in and they ask questions on the free course, essentially every single one of those 1,500 is a lead, someone we can reach out to who can end up working with Hoxo. Because if they're indicating they like the free course, and they typically do like the free course, they click in the classroom, they can watch all of this for free. We then look to get them into the bootcamp. And then once they do well on the bootcamp, we look to get them into the boardroom. Pretty simple, right? A message from our sponsor, Vincere. Another of their products is known as Time Temp. This is your complete integrated timesheet workforce management solution. It's pre-built, it's pre-integrated, and it's designed so no matter how much your business grows, you'll be able to keep track of every single worker in one place in your CRM. All the changes inside Vincere will sync with Time Temp and will be fed back into your account, automating the entire process with two-way sync from your front to back office. Vincere's Time Temp enables you to create shift schedules, search available workers, shortlist and book assignments in seconds. They'll also allow you to track time, track leave, track expenses within their built-in payroll engine. It's called Door Clock. And then they've also got a mobile app for the on-the-go worker. If, again, you're looking to get more from your CRM, Vincere's Time Temp solution is another tool that enables you to perform more of your business-critical processes in your CRM. Find out if you could use Time Temp via the link in the show notes. Right, let's get back to it. So we refresh that every 3 months. And then every 6 months, we create something called a VSL, which is a virtual sales letter, is the proper term. It's essentially an online webinar. You may have seen my adverts on Facebook and Instagram on your sofa on a Saturday night. Right now, if you go on any of those platforms, there's a good chance you're going to see me. Effectively, what we do is we take our information, we create on-demand webinars that people can watch whenever they want, and then we use paid channels on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to promote people to watch those videos. Every time someone clicks to watch the video, they've got to fill in a form to watch that video. And essentially, we drive hundreds and hundreds of leads every single month from that too. Now, all of these leads come into this report. Now, if I show you this report, in January, we generated 1,169. In February, we generated 842. In March, we generated 860. So we had a little dip, then we brought it back up. So April, we did 1,265. And already in May, we're only in the middle of the month. We're on the 17th. Sorry, we're on the 14th as I record this. We're already on 507. So we're bang on for that 1,000 lead average. Okay. And you can see that VSL here through Facebook generated 183 leads last month. Okay. In March, 197. In February, 191. So we get about just under 200 every single month from that paid channels. And we're spending thousands of pounds to get that out on Facebook and Instagram, but we're generating an 8-to-1 ROI. So for every pound we spend, we generate 8 in return, which I'm really proud of. Now, everything I've done here, again, in the boardroom, if I look in the classroom, all of this is going to be playbooked. I'm building all these playbooks right now, and our clients are getting access to them. Once people come into the system, they're then part of our database. And what happens is we then nurture that database with 3 things. Number 1, we send out a monthly newsletter. Number 2, we send out automated emails. So whichever way you come into our system, you're going to get a different email strategy. Now, I talk a lot about AI and automation and how damaging it can be. When it comes to engaging your actual owned data, the data that's already opted in, it's incredible. Like, you can't compete with it. But I don't use it to engage people I don't know. Okay. And then ideally, people will say, hey, Hoxo, I want to call with you. But even if they don't, we have a team of what we call setters and closers. They are people that pick up the phone and book calls for you. So you might have heard from Alex or Kate. They are our setters, and they book Amma and his team of closers onto calls. And then our intention is to put our clients into the bootcamp. We have a consultation. We have a strategic sale. It's no fee on success. It's an upfront fee. You're committing to us for 6 months. We're going to handhold you for 6 months to implement that first organic social strategy into your business. Okay. We've built a really clear product with 6 live modules with me, 6 months of support, access to the technology, incentives, wins, templates, materials, everything you need to implement that strategy and start to see a revenue return. And within 6 months, most of our clients see between 5 and 10 times ROI. They're making 50 to 100,000 pounds in revenue within 12 months, which is pretty amazing. And all of this is packaged up in a really simple course. Now, in order for us to do that, in order for us to generate 2 million from this process, we need the right people, the right tools, and the right data. So I've got a marketing team around me. I've got an operations manager that reports directly into me, ops and marketing. We've designers, copywriters, video. We then have a sales team and a customer success team. It's a really simple model. 13 people in the business. Now, whilst your recruitment business isn't exactly like this, there's so many similarities. There's so many things you can adopt to put into practice. Now, you don't need a full brand team necessarily, but you probably need one person at least to help you execute on these strategies. We have a tech stack, we have a partnership strategy, and we have a data strategy. That's where this report is generated every single day to see our performance. So why am I telling you this? Well, I genuinely believe that most recruitment businesses have no idea how to market themselves effectively. What they typically do is they hire a marketing person who hasn't got that much experience, get them to do social, and they don't have a clue where their ROI comes from. Okay. Whereas 90% of my revenue comes from this inbound channel. I still get some of the outbound stuff I do still generates about 10% of the revenue. 90%. So, 1.8 million a year comes from our marketing team. How would you feel if you could get to that point? 1.8 million. Now, if you'd like a copy of this image, okay, then I'm going to attach a link to the show notes where you can download that. But I'd also, if you'd like to speak to Hoxo, if you'd like to find out, we would start you off typically with the organic social strategy through the bootcamp. But we bring in 3 clients a month into the Boardroom. And the Boardroom is a 12-month group where I personally work closely with you and your team. And we provide the training, the guidance, support, and the community to start to implement these different assets. Now, this is a bespoke strategy. I don't know which of the assets you're going to need, and you might not need them. You might need something else. But I'll become like a chief marketing officer to you on an advisory basis. I'll give you a member of my team, and we'll work with you as the founder, and we'll work with your marketing department. We'll give them the training, the guidance, and support, and the network. So there's a group for marketing leaders, and there's a group for founders. We're going to meet regularly. Every single week there's calls. Every single quarter there's face-to-face and virtual events. And our intention is to embed a process for you where you effectively start to generate leads that track into revenue. And it's about not being blinded by everything you could do. I do 5 things. I do them routinely, religiously, and I do them well. And I believe that you can do the same. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's a bit different, okay? If you're intrigued, like I say, click the link, grab the resources, and if you really want, book a call with Hoxo. We'll be more than happy to talk you through our services. But even if you don't, keep listening to the show, as you'll see now the way that I explain things. And, some of my guests are going to be clients, some aren't. You're going to start to see some of the stuff. Go to LinkedIn, have a look at my strategy. See how I promote my events. See how I do the downloads. See all the different things I'm doing, as I believe it can inspire you too. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We are now nearing the end of the season, but I aim to keep adding as much value back to you as you grow your amazing recruitment businesses. Take good care of yourselves. I'll see you soon. Thank you as always for listening to today's show. I truly hope that you got value from it. Honestly, it's the only reason I take time every week to ensure that my audience, you guys, future and existing recruitment owners, you're learning from each other to make this industry that I love so much stronger. And today's episode is brought to you by my business, Hoxo. I'm the CEO and founder, and we're on a mission to help brand recruitment agencies and their people better. I want to help people have the tools to stand out in the most competitive markets in the world. We're currently working with over 350 recruitment agencies and 5,000 of their consultants right now, helping them to build their personal brands to consistently win more business, attract talent, and just become that go-to recruiter in the market. Now, we do have a huge coaching program, but a lot of people don't know we also manage the brands of a lot of founders, and we can do the rebrand of that company organizational piece as well. So if your recruitment agency either needs help to look and sound exactly how you want it to, or your leadership and consultant level need to get out there and drive more traffic back to that website, to the business, and start using LinkedIn to generate more revenue, then you should definitely be reaching out to us. If that sounds of interest, please do visit www.hoxomedia.com or drop me, Sean, a personal message on LinkedIn. I love hearing from RAG listeners. I would love to talk to you. Look forward to it. So I'll see you again next week with another episode. Catch you soon.